for us, it's a shame that we're losing a good player, but I think we all knew that this needed to happen. You know, if this policy that we kind of adopted, and maybe we're moving away from now, I don't know, but this policy of bringing in youth and hopefully profiting from it, you know, we've just failed to profit from Cogley. So this time I think it was important to cash in. And I think it was no coincidence that his replacement was announced immediately. You know, that was clearly timed intentionally, so nobody's got time to lose their composure. But for us, it makes sense. I don't know what the going rate, what sort of value we're looking at, because it's undisclosed. I have seen numbers bounced around online, but you never know what to believe. But either way, you know, if the club deem it is enough and it can be invested wisely enough into the squad elsewhere, then it's a positive move and a step in the right direction. And best of luck to him. You know, it's going to open up interesting opportunities for him.
Yeah, completely agree. I think, you know, since the announcement that the development model was brought in, we needed to actually have something to show for it. And this is the first real sort of outcome of that development structure that we've implemented at the club. A player that's not made it higher up the levels at Reading. I don't think he really got an opportunity. He's come down to League Two. He's had a full season, plenty of minutes. Seen him in numerous games last season, shown what he's all about. And throughout the shows throughout last season, when it came as a talking point about Ethan Bristow. You know, I mentioned about, I think in a better team in a higher level, which was probably less physical, he would shine. So no, it's a fantastic move for him personally, and you know, hopefully the club has benefited financially from it. You'd imagine that we've got something which is, as Tom said, it's undisclosed. So best of luck to him. I really hope he goes over there and develops and moves on and gets something higher up the ladder again. So yeah. And it's nice that we've got a replacement in so soon as well. We're not having to sort of wait weeks on end and play players out of position in back and wait till the end of the transfer window, like what Tranmere seem to do. But yeah, it's the right move, I think, for him.
It's an interesting one as well. I think it was you, Tom, said that you'd seen the figures banded about. We're not entirely sure how concrete they are, but there's talk of somewhere in the region of between 250 grand and £400,000, which, you know, it's not a bad fee. I still think at that kind of money, you need to be selling 3 or 4 players for that kind of fee per year for it to really make a huge difference to your budget. 250 grand to 400,000 isn't really that much in the grand scheme of things. But if you could be increasing your budget by £1 million per year through selling players, then obviously that would be huge. Gone are the days when Tranmere were selling a player per season, maybe for £1 million. Like they have done in the past, but it's still good money and it obviously needs to be reinvested. And I would be stunned, given the negotiated the is, I'd be stunned if there's not a sell-on clause, whereby if he gets sold for £1 million, £2 million, whatever in the future, Tranmere maybe get 10, 15, 20% of that, which would be very welcome as well, especially as they've missed out on the sell-on fee on Tom Davis, who of course has rejected his new contract at Everton. I think he's moving to Italy, isn't he? They would have made money for him because he came through the youth ranks at Prenton Park before joining Everton at a young age. And I think they had 25% in his sell-on. So they've missed out on a bit of cash there. But do you agree, you two? Is it going to have to be that they need to sell 2 or 3 players for that kind of money for it to be really making a big difference? Or am I wrong?
No, I think you've said that a few times, haven't you, Matt? And I do agree, you know, for this policy, this strategy to work, we're probably too low down the pyramid to really make the kind of money that you need for it to be worthwhile. So for this, it's too early to call this transfer strategy a success or a failure yet, because this is the first successful sort of outcome that we've had. And yeah, we're going to need, you know, whether O'Connor or Hawkes end up moving on, the downside is always going to be you're losing your better players. You know, if Hawkes leaves, then that leaves us with a massive hole to fill. But yeah, you do need more of these success stories to really call this strategy anything close to being successful. Because, you know, it's not going to make, I do agree, it's a lot of money to me, but to a football club, and, you know, it probably doesn't make much of a splash in terms of bringing in quality replacements. But yeah, give it time. It may work out that Reece Hughes goes for big money in future, and whether we make any more similar signings in future, it'll be interesting. But we're going to have to judge this strategy when it's gone full cycle and we've sold the player for a profit and then we've reinvested. Does that then in turn produce success on the pitch? And that's when the whole strategy's gone full cycle. Until that happens, I'm still sitting on the fence on this one.
Problem we've got in playing in the fourth tier of English football, as with a lot of clubs at this level, you've got players on 1 and 2 year deals max. Gone are the days where giving players 3-year contracts. So straight away with that policy, I can understand why we do it, but you are limiting what you're going to get for a transfer fee. And he had 12 months on his deal left. So, you're going to have to really produce an awful lot of young players, get players in, develop them, then sell 2, 3, 4 a summer to really make it, stand out and bring in significant money into the football club. Now, maybe that's the plan moving forward, but it is too early to decide whether this is working. There does seem to have been a shift this summer, and if you look at the transfers that we've actually made, we're bringing in more experience as opposed to untried and untested youngsters. There's more of a balance there, but I think it's probably going to look at 2 or 3 years' time to say whether or not this has been worth it, and it's whether the club actually disclose how much money they've made off it as well.